ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. Welcome to the second session of Matras. In the first part, we learn what Matras are and some fundamental questions related to the Matras. Just revise before we continue in the second part, we had 9 different Matras. La, Dola, Hoda, Kanora, Ankar, Lankard, Sahari, Bihari, Kanna. These are the 9 matras that we have in Gurmukhi. If you include Mukta also, then we will be having 10 matras. This is the letter Kaka, and we attach all the different matras that we have in Gurmukhi to see where to put the matras. For example, La will be on the top of the letter, Dula will be on the top, Hoda and Kanora will also be on the top, Ankar and the Lankard, they will be at the bottom of the letter like we have it here. Sahari will be on the left side of the letter, Bihari will be on the right side of the letter, and Kanna will be on the right side of the letter. So these are some basic things about matras, that how they look like and where to put them. We learned in the first part that the matras change the sounds of the letters. How they change that? This is what we are going to look at today. This is my kakka, right? Let me write it here. I will say mukta. This is my kakka, and if no symbol is attached or no matra is attached, then its sound will be ka. Mukta means no symbol is attached. It doesn't mean mukta means kakka. It can be any letter. Any letter where we have not attached any matra. That is our mukta. So without any matra, kakka will give the sound of ka. Now, let's see the different sounds of the matras. La has the sound of A, like we have it in aim. This sound that we have in aim, that will be the sound of La. Aim, A. For Dula, we have this example, Everest. The sound of E in Everest will be the sound of Dula. We say Everest, A, right? That A is the sound of Dula. Hoda will give the sound of O. The English alphabet O. Let's see how it affects the sound of kakka. We say kakka mukta gives the sound of ka, and la is giving the sound of a. So when you attach la to kakka, it will give the sound of k. Ka plus a, k. In the similar way, the la is giving the sound of a, like in Everest. So when we attach the la with kakka, it will give the sound of ka. Ka plus a, ka. This is how matras change the sound of the letter. Then we have hoda. Hoda's sound is o. When we attach with ka sound, it will become ko. Right? Simple so far. Then we have Kanora. Kanora gives the sound of a. So let me write it. What is this? Awkward. The sound of A in awkward is the sound of Kanora. There are two different ways to pronounce this word. If you are pronouncing it as awkward, then it is the wrong sound. Kanora does not give the sound of A. If you are saying awkward O sound, then Kanora gives that sound. So just remember, here we are taking the sound of A as in awkward, not awkward. If you're pronouncing the words differently, then you may pronounce the matras wrongly. If you are pronouncing the words as I am pronouncing, then it will be very easy to understand the sounds of the matras. So it is not awkward, but awkward. So O sound will be from Kanora. Just remember, here the sound was O, like in the English alphabet O. Here the sound is O. Okay. Next we have Ankar. Ankar gives the sound of U, as in Urdu. The sound of U in Urdu will give the sound of Ankar. So we say Urdu, right? U sound. So that U sound is the sound of Ankar. Now, when we attach that U sound with Kakka, it becomes Ku. Kakka plus U. Ku. This is how you add the matras. Then we have the Lankard. The Lankard sound we can represent with a U. How we pronounce it? U. That U sound in U is the sound of the Lankard. U. Kakka plus U. It will become Ku. Here it was U. And here it is U. When you are going to pronounce Ankar, you are not going to pronounce it for a long time. You can say you have to cut the sound short. U. And for the Lankard, it will be U. First is U. Second one is U. Then we have Sahari. We can represent the Sahari with this example. Italy. The sound of I will be the sound of Sahari. Italy. I sound. So when we attach a sound with Kakka, it will become K. Next, we have Bihari. Bihari is the easiest sound. We can represent the sound of Bihari with an E. So, Kakka Mukta means K, and when you are going to attach the sound of E, it will become Ki. This is the easiest one so far. Hora is also easy. It is very easy to remember, and Bihari is also very easy to remember. In Hora, you have to add the sound of O, and in Bihari, you have to add the sound of E. Last, we have Kanna. We can represent the sound of Kanna with arms. The sound of A in arms will be the sound of Kanna. What will be the sound of A in arms? A. And that will be the sound of Kanna. A. When you are going to attach Kanna with Kakka, so it will be Ka plus A. It will become Ka. So these are all the sounds that we have. 9 different sounds represented by 9 different matras. So just to revise it again before we move on with some questions, La will give the sound of A. The La will give the sound of A. Hoda will give the sound of O. Kanora will give the sound of A. Ankar will give the sound of U. The Lankard will give the sound of U. Sahari will give the sound of A. Bihari will give the sound of E. Kanna will give the sound of A. So these are all the sounds. We understood with the examples of English alphabets or English words how to pronounce the sounds of the matras. But how to represent the sounds of matras in Gurmukhi? Let's understand that. The sound of A will be represented with this. ED and then La. A. The La will be represented by Ada and then Dula. Hoda is unique. Hoda will be represented by Oda and then Hoda. This is wrong. So Oda is a very unique letter in Gurmukhi. When we have to put Hoda on the top of Oda, we cannot put it in this way. This is wrong. The correct way of putting Hoda on the top of Oda is we will open its mouth like this. Remember in the very first video when we were discussing the different Gurmukhi letters, we gave the example of Obama. If you want to write Obama in the Gurmukhi letters, the very first letter will be O. In English, we start Obama from an O, right? But in Gurmukhi, we start the word with Uda and then Hoda, like this. We say this as Ude the Muh Khulla, means the mouth of Uda is open. It is not attached, right? Originally, it should be something like this. So we will open its mouth like this, and this will become my Hoda over Uda. Okay, next one is Konora. Konora will be represented with an Ada and then Hoda. Then Ankar. Uda, Ankar. Remember, only when you are going to put Hoda on the top of Uda, its structure will change. If you are attaching any other matra to Uda, it will remain the same. For example, here we put Ankar, right? But the structure of Uda is same. Then we have the Lankard. The Lankard will also be represented with an Uda. Then Sahari. Sahari will be represented with an ED. I mean the sound of Sahari, sorry. Bihari's sound will also be represented with an ED. Then Bihari. Okay. Last one is Kanna. Kanna will be represented with an Ada and then Kanna. These are the words which will represent the sounds of all the matras. If you want to write A in Gurmukhi, you cannot just simply put this symbol. You have to put it in this way. Similarly, if you want to write A, you cannot just put Dola like this. You have to put Ada and then Dolaya. It will represent the sound of Dola. Similarly, we have Hoda, Konora, Ankar, Lankard, Sahari, Bihari and Kanna. And their respective sounds will be represented by these letters. If you look at the sounds represented by the Gurmukhi letters, what will you find? What is the common thing that you find here? The common thing is all the sounds of the matras are represented by the first three Gurmukhi letters. Uda, Ada, and Ed. Right? There is no other Gurmukhi letter in this. We have only Uda, Ada, and Ed. And each letter has three different matras. Uda has three, Oda, Ankar, the Lankard. Ed has three, La, Sahari, Bihari. Ada has three, Dola, Konora, and Kanna. And please remember that only these matras can be attached to these three letters. For example, I have Kanora here, right? I cannot have Kanora on the top of Ed or on the top of Uda. No. Some of the matras are reserved for these three letters and we cannot change that. Similarly, I have this Sahari, right? A Sahari can only be attached to an Ed when we talk about these three letters. I cannot attach it to an Ada or Uda. We cannot do that. Apart from Uda, Ada, and Ed, all the other Gurmukhi letters, you can attach any symbol to any letter. It is fine. But the first three letters of Gurmukhi, they are unique when it comes to the matras. Alright? So just remember this part. It is very important, and even if you go to Punjab, right, you will see some of the people will be using the matras wrongly. For example, if they want to have a sound, right, instead of using this, they will be using this. This is wrong. Even some of the brands in Punjab, they will be using the wrong matras. So matras are very important. If you are making mistakes about these three letters when it comes to matras, then it is a very bad thing. At the end of the video, we will be having a chart which will help you to remember which symbol can be attached to which letter when it comes to the first three Gurmukhi letters. Let's have some questions here. In the first part, we discussed this thing that if I am having a letter, can I have a symbol like this? Means I know the sound of la and I know the sound of kakka. Can we have something like this? We cannot have it. What we can have is, if I want to have the sound of la before kakka, I need to use this letter. So it will be something like this. Okay? You cannot just have the matras before or after the letters. If you want to use the sounds, then use these letters that we mentioned here. Just remember 2 points when it comes to the matras. These 9 matras, they have their own unique sound. This is the first point. The second point is they can change the sounds of the letters as well. Let me show you one example here. I have this letter, a ka, okay? I'm going to use Kanora. What is it? Ka. Then I am going to put mama here. So it becomes calm. Kakka plus a plus ma. So the matra Kanora it is going to change the sound of kakka. So instead of saying ka, we are going to say ka. Then mamma. Mamma is going to give the sound of ma. So it will become calm. Calm is, you can say, a group of people who have same beliefs. Like we say Sikh calm, right? Means the Sikh religion. Or Muslim calm, or a Hindu calm, or a Christian calm, or Isai calm in Punjabi we say. So calm is a word which is usually used for a religion. Now, we know that the Matra Kanora, right? It changed the sound of kakka. So instead of writing calm like this, can we write calm in this way? So I will have kakka. Okay. The sound of Kanora will be represented with this. So I will say, is it right? I have used kakka, I have used the sound of aw, and then I have used mamma. Will this word give the same sound as this word? The answer is no. The reason being, here Kanora is changing the sound of k. But in this word, the Kanora that we represented with this letter, the sound I mean, it is not changing the sound of kakka. It is adding its own sound after kakka. So instead of calm, this becomes kaam. Because it did not change the sound of kakka. It just added its own sound after kakka. So this is the second point that we discussed. So this is the thing that you have to remember. You want to add the sound on a letter, you want to change its sound, or you want to use the sounds individually. You can do it in both the ways. It all depends on the word that we are using. Here we have this thing, right? Where is la? So this is my la, and its sound is represented with this. So I use this and then kaka. It becomes ek. This is perfect because to say ek, we need to use it in this way. So both the points are true. It all depends on the words. You want to change the sound of the letter, or you want to use the sounds of the matras individually. We will understand it in a better way when we start looking at the words where we are using the matras. The last point that we are going to discuss is how to use the top matras on those letters where there is no line. For example, I have this letter mamma, right? If I'm going to use this dola, how will I write it? Will I write it something like this? Right? No. So we are having two types of letter. I think if you are following the lectures, you will know that one group will have the line on the top. We can take the example of kakka. So this line is there on the top, right? We can have sassa. It also has a line. Dada. It also has a line. And then we have other letters which do not have the line on the top. For example, mamma. Or we can have papa. For these letters, if you want to use the matra on the top, you are going to put it on the right side of the letter. For example, I have this mamma. I will use it like this. Like we used here, Ada does not have a line on the top, see? But we use the line like this on the right side. Similarly, for papa, we are going to use it in this way. Okay. The same is true for Hoda and Kanora. So just remember this thing. These are all the matras that we have. We discussed their different sounds and how their sounds are represented in Gurmukhi letters. We discussed the case of Ura, Ada and Edi, that not all the symbols or matras can be attached to them. Apart from Uda, Ada and Edi, you can attach all the symbols to all the other letters. Uda, Ada and Edi, they are unique. Now let's have a chart here so that it will be easy to remember which matras can be attached to these three letters. So whenever you forget, whenever you have a confusion that, okay, I forgot, I have to have the lama, where would I put it? I would put it on Uda, Ada or Edi, right? So if you have these types of questions, usually you will have them when you learn this language. So the chart will help you to remember which matras can be attached to these three letters. Let me write it quickly. That was pretty quick. Okay, so let's have this Uda, Era and Edi and their respective matras. Let me also write it which is La and which is Hoda. Okay, let's see where we can put La. We cannot put it on Uda. We cannot put it on Ada. We can put it on Edi. The La, we can not put it on Uda. We can put it on Ada, not on Edi. Hoda, we can put it on Uda. Just remember that we have to open the mouth of Uda, okay? We cannot put it on and Ada, sorry. Kanora, we cannot put it on Uda. Ada, we can put it on Ed, we cannot. Ankar, we cannot. The Lankard, yes, no. Sahari, no. Yes, no, yes. No, yes, and no. This is the simple chart that you can refer in future if you have any confusion to know where these matras can be put on these three letters. This is all for matras. In the next couple of videos, we will learn how to pronounce the sounds of different Gurmukhi letters when the matras are attached to them. So 9 different videos we are going to make where we will attach the matras one by one to all the Gurmukhi letters and we will see how their sounds are changing. Also, we will have the exercises where we will write the words using these matras. This is all for today and this is all for the matras that we have in Gurmukhi. If you have any questions related to the matras, please let me know in the comment section below. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.